We have a major trade update as the Chicago Bulls have balked at a potential trade that would send Zach LaVine over to the Denver Nuggets. We're going to be talking about what this means for the Chicago Bulls and if Zach LaVine will, in fact, be traded over to the Denver Nuggets. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so today we are looking at a pretty recent report that has suggested that the Chicago Bulls have balked at a potential trade that would send Zach LaVine over to the Denver Nuggets. And so let's go ahead and jump into this report. You can pretty much find this everywhere. I went ahead and took this headline from Bleacher Report, and it tells you a little bit more about the details and kind of what is going on here. But once you click into this, it is going to reference Mark Stein. And Mark Stein, of course, covers the NBA with Jake L. Fisher. They write on the Stein line. And just talking about the fact that the Chicago Bulls have balked at a potential trade with the Denver Nuggets because of the Zeke Nnaji contract. And so here is something that Casey Johnson tweeted out. He actually put this out a couple days before this article was published, but just saying that the Bulls have no interest in taking Zeke Nnaji's contract in any talks surrounding Zach LaVine. And so let's go ahead and start there with this. And so if the Chicago Bulls are doing this, I think that this is a great sign as far as negotiations really are considered here moving forward with this team. Like, I think that this is good that this team is taking everything in before they just go ahead and just make this trade, because with Zeke Nnaji, yes, the money does match up, but the problem with this is with Zeke Nnaji, you're running into getting a contract where a player is in the first year of $32 million, and he is really not at the value of that contract. It's one of those contracts where you say to yourself, it's probably just flat out bad right now. Now, I mean, something could happen. He could start to really majorly get his potential. Who knows? A change in scenery might change that. But for right now, it is a contract that, probably has negative value here. And that's just the realistic matter of a trade with Denver right now. You're going to have to take a contract in that it's probably at a negative value. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. But, strictly with Zeke Nnaji, he has $8 million that he's owed for this year. He has $8 million the next year, and then it turns into $7 million and some change on the back half of this. And so it is a descending deal, which is good. Now, another thing that you have to think about in this deal is that if you're not taking in, Zeke Nnaji, then you're going to have to try to figure out another way to get Zach LaVine over. Now, there is another way to do so. And if the Chicago Bulls are doing this and they're really trying to play a little bit more of hardball here with the Denver Nuggets, trying to maybe get some better draft assets or, a younger player back, that is possible. You can do this. And so, if you were to do this, this is essentially what a deal might look like if the Chicago Bulls decided to do something like this. I think that the Bulls could go out there, they could send Zach LaVine and Torrey Craig over in exchange for Michael Porter Jr. You still would have another contract coming back that is going to be at a negative value in Dario, but then you could maybe get, another young player back and something that has to be thrown in order to make this deal happen with DeRon Holmes, because with DeRon Holmes, yes, he's been out for the year, but you do get a younger player that is terrific as a screener. He's terrific in pick and roll play as well. In his junior year, he averaged 20.4 points a game, 8.5 rebounds a game, 2.6 assists, and 2.1 blocks. And so you'd have to think that you're getting a player that has shown that he can get it done on the college level. He's definitely got some upside. I think he was the A10 player of the year. He also was the defensive player of the year in 3 years that he played there at Dayton. And so you're getting some good potential back to go with, Michael Porter coming over here. And I think that that might be a better pivot for the Chicago Bulls, because you get a younger player that once he gets healthy again, he's going to fit right in with what you're doing. You do get a center that if you are going to move on from Vooch at some point, you have one. And then you still have Michael Porter Jr., a player that you could absolutely go flip here. And so, will this deal get done? Can Zach LaVine be moved? It's going to be some other pieces in this deal that have to get done and really have to be looked at in order for this thing to happen. And because we're looking at just the mock trade that I've thrown up there, but in reality, you still have to think about this with Zach LaVine, because he has a 15% trade kicker that has to be paid on the trade. And so that means that, his money essentially is going to kind of go up if Denver is looking to trade for him. So that's some of the things that the Denver Nuggets and the Chicago Bulls are going to have to think about if you're doing this. And then again, are the Bulls willing to take on a Dario, and then also too, would the Denver Nuggets be willing to go ahead and throw a younger player in to get the deal done? Because keep in mind, Dario's making 5.2 mil, in comparison to, Zeke Nnaji, who's making, I think, about the 8.8 mil there. That's why you have a little bit of a difference. That's why you have to throw in another player to make this deal happen. Does Denver want to give up, some of their youth to get a player over? That is why I put Torrey Craig in this deal, because the Denver Nuggets, they need help off of the bench. I talked about the fact that they no longer have Bruce Brown Jr. They don't have Jeff Green. They don't have Ish Smith. You get a player back in Torrey Craig that is going to help your bench. You also get Zach LaVine back, who, will probably help you back into the mix of things over in the Western Conference. And so I think that is maybe enough to get the Denver Nuggets to at least include a younger player over. Once again, I did not put any type of draft compensation into this deal, but let me know in the comments what you think about this recent news with the Chicago Bulls going ahead and balking on the deal, because I like it. I just hope that they don't price themselves out. And at this point in time, there's really no pressure for the Chicago Bulls to really make a move right now, because I think that each game, they move a little bit closer away from just that pick here in this upcoming draft. And I think that just the focus is really shifted now. It looks like that this team might be going all in pretty much on a win now situation. And if that's the case, then there is really no need to go out there and rush to move on from Zach LaVine or Vooch. And honestly, I think that between the two, it would probably make more sense to move on from Vooch, because Vooch, he has a valuable contract in the sense that at $20 million, the way he's playing right now, I feel like that is really, it's a bargain for any team that's trading for him right now, especially if you feel like you can win with him. And I think that with the fact that he's going to be going into an expiring contract situation, I think that entices teams to really go out there and get him. And with Zach LaVine, yes, he has the hefty contract, but also Zach LaVine is 29. And so he still fits really kind of this timeline that the Chicago Bulls have. So he kind of fits into this youth movement. And so it would make a lot of sense that if you can get maybe a decent player back for a Vooch trade and then some draft assets, you could go on that way and continue to maybe retool, rebuild the team up that way. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this recent news with the Chicago Bulls balking on the Denver Nuggets deal. Should they not balk? Should they go ahead and take Zeke Nnaji's contract over? Or do you like, the suggested trade that I just threw up there, where in fact we would add a Torrey Craig over there, and you do get Holmes coming back to this team, a younger prospect, a younger center that definitely could fit in the Chicago Bulls timeline for the long term here. And so I just want to thank everybody out there for liking, sharing, and subscribing to the content. It means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers by the end of the NBA season out there. Want to let you know about 66.3% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure that you go ahead and you slam dunk on that subscribe button for us, as it means a lot. And look, even though the Chicago Bulls are balking at trades right now, and we had been hearing nothing around Zach LaVine or really anybody, and now we're starting to hear some noise, I like the fact that the Chicago Bulls are not wanting to be lowballed in a deal, and they might be really thinking strategically about the long term here before they actually go ahead and make a deal. So I actually like it. I hope that whatever happens, whatever deal they do, it has to be something with a plan that is going to help this team be a contender again. And so, as I say on every episode, go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.